Hi creatives, it's KM, and today I'm going to be showing you 5 different ways to create a Blackout poetry journal. Blackout journals are a brilliant creative way to use up old books, and I promise despite their name, you really don't need to be a poet of any kind. So firstly, I'm going to be showing you the most common style you'll see around. So I'm going through the text and I'm writing down words which jump out to me. I'm then going through and underlining these words in the text, and finding smaller, connecting words that I can use to create a phrase. I'm then using acrylic paint and blacking out all the lines except for the phrase I've created. This is the most common style of blackout journaling as it's quick and simple, but I don't think it's necessarily the most visually appealing, so I'm going to show you some creative ways that you can do this. For the next style, I'm boxing off all of my words in paint and then painting the entire page black. Now, you can see here how badly this book is falling apart, which is why I'm journaling with it rather than just donating it. If you don't have any books you want to do this with, you can also use magazines and newspapers in a similar way. If you'd like a whole video dedicated to how you can do this, please let me know in the comments and I'll get to it. The words that I've written read, I wanted excursions into the ragged edge of the universe. I decided to go 10,000 miles away. I floated out in the wind. I was freedom. Once the paint has dried, I'm going to work over in a Pilot Supercolour white paint marker to create an illustration. Inspired by the words I chose, I'm drawing a young girl floating up into the stars on a piece of dandelion. So you can see here that I wasn't happy with the positioning of the legs, so I just painted over it. And this is one of the easiest spreads to fix the mistakes because you can just paint it back to black. And that's it for how you create this spread. For the third style, I'm going to be creating my words within the restriction of a drawn shape. So here I'm painting in the shape of a rose and my phrase will be contained within its petals. I highly recommend you use acrylic paint in these journals rather than ink or anything else water-based, as books aren't treated to withstand ink bleed like a notebook or a sketchbook would be. To create depth and three-dimensionality to my painting, each petal has a shadow on the side closest to the centre of the rose. You can see that I'm then outlining the words and petals in a black line to create definition and a more graphic look. The words inside the rose read, they stood in red, promising to unfold life. And this is why I think creating a phrase within a shape is a really interesting thing, because you can choose the words to reflect the shape that you've drawn. For the next style, I'm using a cutout method and cutting out the lines except the words that I've chosen. I've placed the cutting mat underneath the page so as not to damage the rest of the book. But if you don't own one of these, some very thick cardboard might work in place of it. So you can see here that I'm cutting out the lines with a craft knife. And I've got to be really careful when I'm doing this, as the paper is very thin and the gaps between each of the lines is very small. Once you've cut out all of the lines, it makes the page very fragile, so you can see here that I'm backing it with some pattern card. I'm just gluing this on with some basic PVA type glue. If you want to keep the gaps open so that you can see through them, the best way of doing this would be to laminate the page or cover it with some sticky back plastic. So moving on to the next page, you can see that I've just added another bit of card to back off the other page. And then the final style I'm going to show you is how to apply a fabric overlay. So I've cut a piece of lace to the size of the page and then I'm cutting holes in it for the words to show through. Now, you can use any kind of fabric that you want for this, but something like lace is already designed to have holes in it, so it's less likely to unravel and fray when you cut into it. You'll probably be okay with most kinds of fabric, but try and stay away from anything knitted, as I can guarantee you it's just going to unravel when you cut into it. So that's it, and that's all the styles that I'm going to cover in this video. If you like this video, please subscribe, as I post creative journal and sketchbook inspiration every Friday. If you want to see more of me before then, check out my social media links below. Until then, keep creative.